الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قد أفلح المؤمنون الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون والذين هم عن اللغو معرضون والذين هم للزكاة فاعلون والذين هم لفروجهم حافظون إلا على أزواجهم أو ما ملكت أيمانهم فإنهم غير ملومين فمن ابتغى وراء ذلك فأولئك هم العادون والذين هم لأماناتهم وعهدهم راعون والذين هم على صلواتهم يحافظون أولئك هم الوارثون الذين يرثون الفردوس هم فيها خالدون صدق الله العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاكرين الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Tonight, alhamdulillah, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala wa bi'awnih, we are starting Surah Mu'minun, which is the 23rd Surah of the Quran. And this Surah, the first 10 ayat establish the key features of a believer. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the reward for believers, those believers who have these conditions. This Surah is a Makki Surah. And apart from these first 10 ayat which talk about the features of a believer, the qualities and the signs of a believer, and that is the reason why the surah is named Mu'minun, or the believers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also has mentioned some stories of some prophets. And basically Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this surah has reminded people of their reality, their origin, why were they created, and what is their ultimate end. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has brought people towards the fact of resurrection by giving proofs that are available in different things that we see around us in the universe. And in the creation of man himself, there is signs that this man is going to decay and there is going to be resurrection. So these are the basic things in this surah. The Sahaba have narrated that when the wahi would come to the Prophet ﷺ, the revelation would come to the Prophet ﷺ, the people around him would hear or see some signs of it. The Prophet ﷺ would be visibly under pressure, or sometimes we'd be able to see that, we'd be able to hear some sound like buzzing of bees, and we would understand that the Prophet ﷺ is getting wahi. So if we were going to go away from the Prophet ﷺ, we would stay there and see that if the wahi is done, then we are able to listen and save this wahi, that this current wahi that is coming. So one time such a situation came when the Prophet ﷺ was sitting and the Sahaba was sitting, and the Sahaba could hear this sound, and they stayed back trying to get this wahi from the Prophet ﷺ as well. And after the wahi was over, the Prophet ﷺ sat facing the Qibla and started reciting dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allahumma zidna wa la tanqusna, Allahumma akrimna wa la tuhinna, Allahumma a'inna wa la tu'in alayna, Allahumma athirna wa la tu'thir alayna, wardina warda anna. Which is that, Ya Allah, increase us and do not decrease us, and Ya Allah, give us power and victory over our enemies and do not humiliate us, and Ya Allah, be happy with us and do not become angry with us, become displeased with us. These kind of message. This was the dua. And the Sahaba asked the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ said that this is the wahi that was given to me, that the features of Iman were told to me, and I am asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase all of us in these features of Iman. So the first 10 ayat, they are very important things that a Muslim should try to get in their life. It is reported that Sayyidah Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu anha was asked that famous hadith that what are the akhlaq, what is the personality of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She said that the personality of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the Quran, and then she recited these first 10 ayat. This is the reason why I have recited all these ayat. Inshallah we'll do them as much as possible, inshallah 1 or 2 ayat every night. The first ayah, the surah opens with قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ, without any doubt, verily, success, falah, aflaha, has been attained. It is a past, that it has already been attained by al-mu'minun, the believers. So falah, according to most mufassirin, is a complete and perfect success and a state of complete and perfect pleasure without any displeasure, without any negative thing happening. And of course you understand that the ultimate falah in its true sense can only be achieved in the Jannah, in the hereafter, in the heaven. So therefore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is promising Jannah for believers. Who are those believers? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning those. Now the meaning of falah is not only restricted to the hereafter, but also falah is given in the world as well to the believers. And the two very obvious meanings are that of course we see that believers, we see that a lot of time they are going through hardship in this life. So the one thing that we should understand is that even that hardship which comes on the believer, if they are a true believer and their heart is connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah keeps giving contentment to their heart in that very state of trouble. So their heart is at peace, although their body and their physical things might be going through a hard time. The second thing is that the ulama have written that this period is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes it away, it does not last forever, even in this world, for a believer. The third thing is, which should be understood, is that falah of the hereafter is guaranteed for believers. So in those things that appear to be hardship or loss for a believer, in reality there is still falah, which means that through that period of hardship, Allah is training them and creating good qualities in them. So ultimately falah is there in that hard time as well, that the real success is being given to them, although it might appear unpleasant. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us falah in this world and the hereafter, and grant us ease and comfort in everything. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Al-Mu'minun means believers, and these are the features of those believers. Alladhina hum fi salatihim khashi'un. The first feature after Iman. So Iman, becoming a believer in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and having the correct aqaid, is at the core of everything, without which nothing matters, without which nothing is going to have any weight. This is the reason why Yahud, Nasara, or any other people who do not have the right belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no matter how big of a pile of good deeds they bring on the Day of Judgment, none of that will carry any weight and they will not get any reward. Their reward is only in this world. If they do good deeds, they get reward in the shape of good repute and good name, but in the hereafter they have no reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Only those people who are mu'minun, only those people who live and die on Iman, or at least die on Iman at La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah with the correct aqaid, these are the people for whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give any weight to their deeds. Now the first thing after Iman is alladhina hum fi salatihim khashi'un. Not only do they pray, of course, this ayah means that they pray, but in their prayers they have something called khushu'. So those people who have khushu' in their salah. And khushu', different ulama have given different definitions of it, but the most comprehensive one is that the heart and the whole body is focused and at peace with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some ulama have only restricted it to the heart, some ulama have defined it to be the peace of the body, comfort, focus of the body and the body parts. But in reality, if you combine all of them, they are all manifestations of khushu', individual expressions of khushu', but the reality, the overall picture is that the heart should be focused on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the body parts should not be engaging in anything which is unnecessary or not allowed in the salah. The hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there was somebody who was praying and he was playing with their beard. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that if he had khushu' in his heart, he would have khushu' in his body parts as well. This explains the whole meaning of khushu', that focusing on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the real deal with the heart and with the body organs. The minimum level of khushu' is that intentionally a person does not bring outside thoughts in their heart and mind, and follows the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the matter of their body parts. The way the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to stand, they stand. The way the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to do ruku, they do ruku. The way the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to do sujood and other organs of the salah, the people do it. That is the minimum level of khushu'. So alladhina hum fi salatihim khashi'un, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said that khushu' is that one thing that is going to be lifted away the first thing that is going to be taken away from this ummah. And so much so that, if I remember correct, the hadith is that there will be whole jama'at, but nobody will have khushu'. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us those who are khashi'un in their salah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give khushu' in our salah. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Inshallah, the next other features we'll read in detail in the future. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم رب اغفر وارحم وأنت خير الراحمين اللهم اجعلنا من أهل القرآن الذين هم أهلك وخاصتك وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين آمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.